This week we are talking Shadow of the Erdtree. All right, my friends, welcome to episode 438 of Prof and Dev Play Games. My name is Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Blue Sky. Over there is Anthony, the dev. He is summer speak. How is it going?
It's going well. Had a weekend with my daughter where we sat and watched a bunch of Miyazaki movies. Not the Miyazaki we're going to be talking about. the other Miyazaki.
I was like, whoa, he did a movie too?
Actually, this is hilarious. This is a fun anecdote before I continue. So at work, one of the artists, they put a mood board down, and they call it the Miyazaki mood board. On one end, you have Hayao Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli, for those who want to know, and all those movies. And the other side, you have who is the Miyazaki from?
It's not Hideo, is it?
No, I'd have to look up his first name.
Yeah.
But that's the two sides for art.
Oh my god, that's so
and they
funny.
call it that's the Miyazaki scale.
Oh my gosh! So which one are you?
Hidetaka Miyazaki.
Oh yeah.
And so, and it's really funny whenever you find pictures and you're like, Actually, this is a lot like Hideo Miyazaki and Ghibli, but it's got a creepiness to it. So let's move it over a couple spots towards the Hidetaka Miyazaki side. Like, we really got into it on some of just being like,
oh my god, it's so funny.
I know. I'm like, yes, I love the Miyazaki scale now for rating effectively art style and tone. So been watching a lot of Hideo Miyazaki movies. Watched Castle in the Sky, which I had never seen before. That's the second Studio Ghibli movie, or the first if you don't. Nausicaa's weird if it's considered originally it wasn't a Studio Ghibli movie because they didn't exist when they made it as Studio Ghibli. Like, they made Nausicaa and it gave them money to form the studio, like, formally. And then they made Castle in the Sky, which highly recommend. That was a fun adventure movie, and I was watching it, and there's like a big kind of like magical tree, a lot like a game we're playing in the
Oh my god.
Which isn't funny, and that movie came out long before any of the Mana games. But I'm like, oh right, Nausicaa, Castle in the Sky, those were 84 and 86 respectively. Like, they have such influence on like Japanese video games of the late 80s.
Right.
Like,
yep.
Where do chocobos come from? They're directly pulled from Nausicaa. Not called chocobos, but
have they mentioned that? They've said that, or just very obvious?
It's very obvious. Well, Nausicaa has a bunch of like where people ride birds and they put armor on birds, like they're their horses.
Those are chocobos. Yeah,
those are chocobos, and that was the manga had that in the very early 80s. I think Sakaguchi has been like very clear on that, being like, yeah, there's inspirations taken there. Airships are a big thing in Nausicaa and Castle in the Sky.
Oh my god, it's all pulled from Studio Ghibli.
I mean, it's seriously, like, you watch these things and you're like, oh right, these are incredibly influential.
Well, it just speaks to how like great art influences more great art.
Pretty much.
Shakespeare was influenced. He just stole shit from everywhere, you know?
Yeah, and that's okay. Because
it is okay.
The ideas are cheap. Execution is what matters.
Yeah, exactly right.
And people can reinvent and execute on that stuff well. It's great. So watch that, and then we watched Princess Mononoke, which is, my daughter's old enough now. I was like, okay, this one's darker. It's probably the darkest of the Miyazaki films. And I've watched it a few times. It's fantastic. It's such a good movie. In that one, you can totally see the inspirations of Breath of the Wild has a lot of inspirations from that one. I would say Tears of the Kingdom actually has a lot of inspiration from Castle in the Sky. Not shocking with the name of,
right.
And they've even said that,
Nintendo
has totally said that that's been big influences on them. So we watched Princess Mononoke. That movie is great though. And then we watched Howl's Moving Castle last night. And I had only seen Howl's Moving Castle once before my kids were born. And I thought it was all right then. I hadn't really thought much of it again. I watched it last night with my daughter, and that's a fucking good movie. Holy shit.
Yeah, friend
it's
of the
so
pod,
good.
Tom, who's been doing the RPG backlog with us, that's his favorite. Howl's Moving Castle.
It's really good. It quickly, we finished it, and my daughter was like, "Oh, yeah." She's like, "That's one of my favorites. That was really good." Kiki's is her favorite, and then I think Howl's is now second to it.
Well, it's been a Miyazaki weekend because we watched Kiki's Delivery Service for our movie night, which was fantastic. It was I just love how different different from a United States perspective, I suppose, or a Hollywood perspective, where like there's constant conflict, and like when the dog catches the cat, then it's going to eat it, or they're going to be like enemies or whatever, but really they're not. It's just like fucking kind and low conflict and just like almost slice of life. Beautifully animated. My daughter was just rapt and just laughing hysterically. Like she was so excited when the Studio Ghibli title screen popped and it was like Totoro. And then she's in, man. We are in. I've never seen until I watched with my daughter. I've never seen a single one of these movies, so I'm very excited to go on this journey with her. And I looked up a website that was like ranking them in order of age, like where to start. I think the first one was like the I forget what it's called. Towards the P, and it's the Little Mermaid kind of adjacent. What's it called? Ponyo. Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Recommended that one first, so maybe that will be next movie night.
Yeah, my kids really enjoyed Ponyo. It's silly. It's very, very much something that is for younger. I think you're doing a good job of like if following that site going through. Like
we don't want to be stuck in the scary or sad or dark or whatever, Yeah. What was it again that you found? Because I'd be very curious on that. I googled it. Maybe if I still have it on my browser, I can let you know whose website it was. But it was like a Miyazaki fan who was like, "Here." I don't know. I deleted it. I'll try to find it for you. Here's in my opinion, here are the ones from bottom to top, youngest to oldest.
Was it the spinoff?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I just googled it. Okay, yeah, 3.6 Ponyo. That seems right.
Yep.
Secret World of Ariadne. That seems right. Spirited Away, 7 to 10. I will. Maybe not. So that's the thing. I don't think it's not violent or anything like that. Spirited Away is just like my daughter found parts of it creepy. Well, not in a bad way, because I do think there is something to be said about pushing a little bit of boundaries there on like
death and such. Isn't it what it's about?
No, there's no death in it.
Oh, okay.
It's not subjects like that. It's just some of the animations like a little creepier and like the spirit world and stuff. It's Studio Ghibli, so it's not like creepy in like a super dark way, but there's just like it didn't scare her. She was enthralled to watch it, but she's like, oh, No Face is kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, my daughter would find that very creepy.
At her age, yeah. I would say that one they show 7 to 10. I would say 10 is probably more the appropriate age, a little bit older. Yeah, Castle in the Sky. 7 to 10 they say is like Spirited Away, Castle in the Sky, From Up on Poppy Hill. So this is all Studio Ghibli stuff, not even all Miyazaki's. Because there's a bunch here I haven't seen either.
Ghibli, but not Miyazaki's?
Yeah, because Miyazaki didn't do... there's like 3 or 4 main people that do Ghibli films. Miyazaki is, of course, the one everyone talks about. But there's
they all have the same vibe? Have you seen other Ghibli films that were not Miyazaki?
They can have pretty wild vibes, different ones, and not in a violence or anything kind of way. There's still a Studio Ghibli thing, but very different animation styles. Stories are just different. So like one in here that is probably perfectly fine age-wise. Princess Kaguya, but its animation style is just wild. It's very different. Yeah, I can see some. Oh yeah, Grave of the Fireflies, old. Like they need to be old for that. you should be old for that. That one will stick with you a long time.
Ooh, maybe I'm not old enough yet.
You'll feel real sad. It's a real sad movie. But yeah, actually put Howl's as older as well. Interesting.
The Miyazakis should team up, kick GRM out of there, and he can go work on A Song of Ice and Fire. And we'll just have the two Miyazakis work on the next FromSoft game.
The Ghibli Miyazaki, Hayao Miyazaki would definitely, he'd probably hate those games.
Oh yeah, the darkness of those games.
It's darkness. Anything with he is very much self-proclaimed pacifist. He hates war, and that's the interesting thing. Watching Howl's now and knowing that it was made. One of his main reasons for making it was a response to the U.S. invasion of the Iraq War.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And now I see it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's not like his movies don't beat the message over your head, but if you're just listening for it in the dialogue, sometimes just like quick one-off things, it's you're like, oh yeah, he's constantly throwing in things of being like the only people hurt by war are civilians. Everyone loses. Like the main character of Howl's Moving Castle, Howl, is very pacifist, hates war.
I think it's what's so nice about the Miyazaki movies I've seen so far is it's just like an overwhelming sense of peace.
Yes.
Which is really just awesome and different.
And they don't ever really beat the message over your head. Ever.
No,
if you can follow the themes, and the themes are there in all his movies, but you're not going to get the Disney side of things of, hey, do you know what we mean? Are you sure? He's just going to say a line at all, and you can move on. Like,
right.
Pick up
trust
on it
the
or
audience
not.
To be smart.
Very much trust the audience.
Yeah, I like that. I like media that trusts the audience.
Yeah. But yeah, so go from that Miyazaki over to
Hidetaka Miyazaki. And all the rage right now is the DLC for Elden Ring. It is Shadow of the Erdtree, and it is wild. It is huge. It is dense. There is a wholly different leveling system. The pre-patch, there was a patch we'll talk about, but pre-patch, every shadow tree blessing you got raised your damage negation and your damage delivery, I guess, by 5%. At the early stages, and post-patch when I guess the game was getting review bombed a little bit, talking about the difficulty, which is hilarious because it's a FromSoft game. But they did, as they usually do, kind of like balance things as feedback comes in from the millions of people who are playing. And the early stages now, it's 10% per level, which is hilarious because there was a little bit of a thing going on when the reviews were coming out and talking about how games journalists aren't very good, and there's like a games journalist mod for Elden Ring that makes you hit way harder and don't take much damage or whatever, but the games journalists are the one who beat the game all the way through on the original patch. And that was kind of a funny thing to see. Overall, the DLC is kicking people's ass, it sounds like. Yeah,
I mean, it definitely has that alternate leveling system, and I think you have to if you want the general trend of feeling like you're matching things like the base game was, you do need to go find the Shadow Tree fragments and progress that way.
I like, because
clearly it's balanced around that.
It is, and the nice thing, and I don't, I've been playing a ton of base game Elden Ring, which we will talk about too, but I don't remember being rewarded for exploration that explicitly in the base game, where this is like you get runes from beating bosses, but you also get these shadow tree blessings for exploring the world and finding them, which is really a nice addition for this.
Yes.
Exploration.
Yeah, and I think people just need to I think that is a great way of going about it. The people that don't want it and want the hardest difficulty ever, don't get them. Don't turn them in.
Yeah, because there's, I think we talked about before, but versus other Miyazaki games or FromSoft games, there are so many ways to adjust the difficulty by leveling up, getting more runes, bringing in your ash, getting your most powerful ash, bringing the mimic tier, bringing in cooperators. And I think Miyazaki this week was talking about how he's not very good at video games, so he uses all those things. Like, they're in there to use. And I know some people like to be hardcore because the old games didn't have that, so they're like, you can't use an ash, you can't bring in a cooperator, you can't bring a co-op partner, multiplayer, you have to do it all by yourself. And like, that's great, you can do that. Other people can do other things. I would never have finished Elden Ring base game without being able to bring in some help at certain points, or bring in my mimic tier. My mimic tier is just a fucking tank. And
when
awesome.
I went back to playing, that was the thing. There was one boss, I can't remember, it was in the base game. I went back to it and I'm like, man, I'm like, how do I do this? I forgot that I could summon my mimic here. I forgot a lot. I'm like, oh, right, shake off the rust. I have a thing that I summon here that helps me. And once I summoned that, I beat it the next time. I was like, right. I use this stuff because it was actually interesting. Like, you were talking, you beat Millennia, finally, but so here's the thing with it. I think from based on our video game chat in the Discord, I have heard also from pretty much all my coworkers that love these games and the general thing, the Millennia is the hardest boss that From made up until that point. The thing is, it's easier to deal with because there's so many options in Elden Ring.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. I agree.
It's an incredibly technical boss, but you have so many ways you can approach it, far more than you ever got in any of the Souls games or Bloodborne.
Well, I think it's been the interesting, we've been talking about, you were talking to me about approachability versus accessibility, and there's always been a conversation about accessibility with FromSoft games, and there really aren't accessibility options. But when you think about accessibility in terms of approachability, there also haven't been very many approachability options until Elden Ring.
Nope.
And now there's a whole menu of them that those hardcore players can have that, and I recently started I would used to just bring my mimic tier immediately and go through a couple rounds and then get it. This time I was doing it by myself 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times, like really figuring out the boss fight, getting close, not getting all the way, and then bringing in my mimic tier to help me. That was Millennia specifically. I started learning the boss fight.
You can't.
And I brought
There's some in the DLC that don't let you have summons, like the Black Knight.
The Black Tail Knight. Summon. That's where I learned. That's where I relearned this. Really, was I couldn't do it. I was like, oh shit, I'm never gonna beat this. Like, yes, I am. And by the end of it, it was so easy. Like, I was like, oh my god, I've done this so much. I know exactly what to do. That I for the first time ever, threw my summoning sign down. I was like, hey, summon me for this battle. I want to do this again. And that guy's great because totally optional right there at the beginning of the DLC. But his shit is awesome. His sword, I took his Sword of Solitude and leveled it all the way up to level 10, and it is a fucking beast. So I basically, for Millennia, I brought in my mimic tier with the Uchi plus 25 and then the Rivers of Blood plus 10. And then I switched over, after I summoned him, I switched over to my Sword of Solitude. And then he was doing the Corpse Piler and just the bleed stuff. And I was doing the Poise Break and just the stagger. And it was just, we were relentless. We never moved off of her. So when she tried to jump in the air, the Corpse Piler just knocked her back down, and I stunned her with my sword, and the second phase was quicker than the first. It was just crazy, and it was probably 50 tries overall. But honestly, when I did it by myself, I could get her down maybe half, maybe 2/3, but that was it. I couldn't get her all the way.
Yeah.
So having the mimic as almost like a tank, I mean, not almost, as a tank and a distraction was super fucking helpful. You didn't post a comment in there because you were doing it, and I was like, what? He's like, oh, you posted something about I got around to about 50%, 3/4 of the way, and I'm like,
you don't know there's a phase 2 yet.
I didn't. I had no idea. I was like, I
And
almost
I'm
got her.
like, oh no.
And then, so I got her. I consistently got her down to like 2/3, and I was like, okay, now it's time to bring my Mimic Tear in. First time I brought it in, we fucking shredded her. I was like, I did it. What the fuck has happened? Oh no, there's a second phase, and we got wiped in 2 seconds.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
oh my god.
Oh yeah.
When she drops down and does whatever the flower thing is in the crimson, or
Yeah.
the scarlet rot or whatever.
Yep. Get away from her. Get so
Yes,
far away from her.
Yeah,
On
by
that
the
start of
end.
that second phase.
Yep. If you saw the final battle where I did beat her, like as soon as we got the second phase, I just run towards the camera and get the fuck away.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I was waiting for the response somewhere in there being like, you mentioning about, oh no, a second phase.
Yep. No, god damn it.
Because there was some point in there I was like, do I want to tell him? I don't think I want to tell him.
No, it was funner for me to find out. It was really fun. I was like, oh fuck.
Oh yeah, you did. Yes. That's the second phase. Yeah, I was like,
So getting ready for the DLC, I went to Moog, and I spent a long time on Moog, and by the end, I was like, I love this fight. I wish I could do it again, which I guess is what the summoning thing is. You get a chance to do it again. But then I started going all over the map, just found places where I didn't have any sites of grace, and I was like, there's probably something there. And for somehow, I just stumbled into shit. I stumbled into shit that I needed. I stumbled into the other half of the Haligtree medallion. I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna do the Haligtree, which was a fucking like incredible legacy dungeon. Incredible.
there are parts of that place I hate so much.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely. Like all of it. I think I hate all of it. Like the fucking snails casting the fucking whatever. Those big fucking sword dudes.
I hate the initial part of the Haligtree where you're in the branches.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just gonna fall.
You fall.
God, that part.
I'm usually good about not losing runes. In the Haligtree, I lost probably 300,000 runes.
Oh yeah. Does the game keep track of that? I wonder if there's a stat where like, show me how many total runes I've lost. I don't really want to know, but I kind of want to know.
How many levels could I have had?
A lot more than I have now. But yeah, you've done well. You've jumped back to the base game and then went. Have you really done like a huge amount in Erdtree?
Yeah, so I've pushed. I've only done the Black Jail Knight boss fight. I haven't had another boss fight, but I've explored a lot of the early map. I don't know the names off the top of my head, but I'm at a point now where I'm in like the castle area, the first castle area, if there is a first castle area, if that's whatever. And there's like the regular knights roaming around. There's one on a bridge connecting me to the inner part of this kind of bailey or the castle area that just wrecks my shit. And that's like a normal dude on the map. Like I beat Millennia, and this guy is wrecking my normal dude. Is just kicking my ass.
Yeah. There's what is this one? It is. What the hell is that name? Inner Limb is one of the ones.
That sounds right.
And then there's Castle Insis as well, are kind of like the two directions you are kind of pushed towards at the start. I've explored both of them pretty well, haven't done the bosses of them, but just pushed into more graces in them, finding things like Castle Insis. I went in and I got, there's 2 items in there. There's Milady, which is
I haven't got that yet.
Light broadsword, a light greatsword.
People love that thing.
It looks neat. I need to continue to upgrade it. I got that, and then there's a really cool medium shield in Castle Insis as well. And I've seen that people can use Milady and that shield as like a dex based kind of build. Milady is heavy attack is just like very rapid double attacks.
Awesome.
So it's an interesting thing. But I don't.
Is this where's this place? Is it north? Like the first side of Grace, do you like head north?
Yeah, you head through the Scorched Ruins, and then there's the Elback Great Bridge. There's a big bridge you go across. Is that where you're getting trounced?
Oh, I turned. No. I didn't go that direction. I went left. I think
that's inner limb. Which
that's where I am.
I pushed into there somewhat. I basically what I have done is just explored and pushed into sites of grace. I think doing less focus on specific bosses. I'm like, I had just been told that Insis had Milady, and so I was like, I'm going to go there because I want to get to see this weapon. And found it.
I need to go back to the like
so
much earlier
more.
sites of Grace and then go the other direction and see what kind of I can find. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just love the
there
exploration.
seems so much to explore and find in this place that it is a dense map.
I've unlocked one shortcut already in that area that I was at, where you like go all the way inside and you open this huge door that you can get. Yeah, and what's that place called again? Is that Insis?
No, that's inner.
Yeah, okay. Elam or whatever.
Inner Elam or
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that's
inner Elam.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I need to go to the place you were. What Shadow Tree level are you? I think I'm only 2.
2 or 3 at this point. I think I'm 3 actually. I got another one, so I could get to 3.
Okay, you're a little ahead of me.
Again, though, I haven't gone back and like fought any bosses though, because I did that, and that's when I jumped back into the base game with the character I was playing and being like, oh, what haven't I done on this character, which was my second character through the game, and I was like, oh, I actually didn't do the Erdtree. I had everything. I had unlocked it. I just stopped playing. I didn't go into the Erdtree, so I did some of that. I got down to have the Grace right before Millennia.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't tried. I'm like, I'm not ready to go in there yet.
Are you a magic? What are you?
No, I'm melee. This is still a blasphemous blade build, so it's a faith-based melee. And it's fun. I did totally nerf blasphemous blade, so it's kind of not as good as it was when I was playing years ago. It doesn't knock things down anymore. It was so good. Its R2 thing would knock things down. And now I actually have to play the game a bit more.
There's so many ways to cheese. I was doing the putrid tree spirit up down in the Erdtree area, where you are finishing up Millicent's storyline. And fuck that arena, man. I had to cheese it. Like, I would get it, it's in a lake of scarlet rot, so I'm standing on the rocks or ringing around it, and then you're just so close to the edge, you get knocked off, you roll, he knocks you off. So I just got him down to like probably a quarter left or maybe a third left, and jumped on the branches and just fucking shot my regular bow at him, and just 200 HP, fucking shot 100 arrows at him, and it killed him.
You're like fine, whatever.
Dude, it was fucking harder than Millennia just because of the fucking arena.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't gone back. I did that early in the week. And then I kind of didn't play a whole lot. I'm going to say on Wednesday, Thursday, because we recorded on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, for the RPG backlog.
For the RPG backlog, which everyone should listen to as well.
Yeah, we're recording an episode that won't publish until like August, but yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Adventure. Right now it's Undertale. Check it out.
But yeah, I definitely, I didn't play that night. And then I didn't mess with any. Like Thursday, watched movies with my daughter and then didn't play much. And then Friday, Dawn Trail came out. So, I have other things to focus my time on right now.
Yeah,
so.
Dawn Trail, have you started playing that?
Yes.
All right, let's pivot to what we've been playing then, because I'm curious to hear about this.
So I would say I'm like level 92. 90 to 100 is the level of Dawn Trail. This is Final Fantasy 14. And we're definitely back into the slightly lower, not even slightly, this is very low stakes compared to where Endwalker was. I'm not killing gods.
Is it the same character or new?
Same character.
Oh, okay,
You're the same Warrior of Light. It's your character, the main character.
Got it.
Same friends. It's just you're now exploring a new part of your world, and it is low stakes. It's meant to be low stakes, and there's a certain coziness to it now. A breather compared to what you've gone through. So, but I do expect that somewhere around the halfway point, so between level 95 and 97, I bet there's going to be a pretty heavy switch, and it's going to seed some pretty big stuff for the next chunk of story, if that story is like a decade long. But we'll see what that is. Right now, I'm just having a good time with it. It is. I don't think it's going to blow anyone away if they're like, "Oh, I want to try Fantasy 14." I'm like, well, they're not changing the game drastically. It's more content. It's more of what you expect.
Right.
Just start playing if you want to play it. I think for now you can play up through Stormblood expansion. It's all free for the part of the free trial. So it's the first base game plus the first two expansions.
So you don't need to have a subscription to do that at all?
Just a free trial. You can just play as much or as little as you want.
There's no hours cut off or anything like that?
Nope.
That's cool.
I think there's some trade limitations. You can only have like 2 total characters, but I've talked about it before. The thing with Final Fantasy 14, it's not a game about have alts, because your main character is all the jobs that you want it to be. Like, if you're just like, oh, I want to try a new job, well, you just change your main character's job and you start leveling as that job. So there is no reason to create alts in the game, like other MMOs. I haven't even checked out the new jobs in Dawn Trail yet. Viper and Pictomancer.
Oh, that's right. Pictomancer.
Pictomancer, which I think is a reference to a Final Fantasy VI class. I want to say it's Final Fantasy VI. One of the characters in 6, Realm Aroni is a Pictomancer in 6, and that's the only other mainline Final Fantasy that's had a Pictomancer.
I just love that name, Pictomancer.
Yeah, they paint, and they do spells through painting.
That's really a cool idea.
And Final Fantasy 14 like digs deep in its references and where it pulls stuff from. So yeah, everyone was like, we're gonna get a green mage or something like that, or a time mage, and they're like, nope, you get a Pictomancer. And I remember that it got revealed, and people were like, what? What's a Pictomancer? So yeah, it's fun. There is just a coziness to the game that I really enjoy as an MMO. That it's a good-natured game. Like, it's about hope and being kind, and I think that permeates through the entire community that play the game. So that was pretty fun.
That's really cool.
There was definitely like so I was kind of in the Friday morning, I realized I hadn't finished all the patch content, so I can immediately start Dawn Trail. I needed to still do 2 raid bosses. So went in, was like, fine, let's queue for the raid, get matched with a party. The first one was tough, and when I talk about a good-natured thing, you have a 60-minute timer to beat it. How many tries you need to do in 60 minutes. We beat it with 5 minutes left. We did like 7 attempts, and everyone there was just cheering everyone else on.
Oh, very cool.
Like, just being like, yeah, okay, we're learning it, we're getting it. Okay, and during this, we probably should do this and this. And it's like, this is a completely random public group. And we're all just sitting there, like, cheering for each other and, like, talking strategy. And then no one was getting mad of being like, why can't you just figure this stuff out?
Randos being nice
to each other?
What the hell?
Yeah, everyone was just being nice to each other. It was great.
That's odd, but wonderful.
I know. I'm like, that's why this community is so good and why I like playing this game. Because 9 times out of 10, it's that type of stuff. Sure, every once in a while you get the asshat, but for the most part, everyone's real cool and just really supportive and wanting people to have the best time. Yeah. So, and that kind of kindness spreads to everyone else, so no one else wants to be that dick.
Right, because then you stand out as a dick when you don't want to stand
and then you get shunned, and people are like, I don't want to be. Go away. That's why I recommend, if you just actually want an MMO with a good community, it's a real good community. And I want to say it's the biggest MMO now by player base.
Well, I thought it was for a while.
It has been. I think they reached like 35 million players or something. It's a lot.
And then
definitely more than WoW at this point.
Yeah. Do we know how long the new content is?
I bet it will take like a week to get through like the story aspect of it. That's usually about right for me, at least. Honestly, week, 2 weeks. It's usually, I want to say that each expansion's like around 40 to 50 hours of content. So, that's just
pretty good.
Stacked on another chunk of content, so it's probably 300 hours of story content if you just started fresh.
Yeah, I again
3 JRPGs long, 3 personas.
Yeah, dude. I think my biggest gaming regret is probably going to be that I won't be able to experience that story because it just sounds so impactful, and like for it to be that long, just like it has to be impactful, right? Like they stuck the landing.
They did.
Yeah.
They definitely stuck the landing, and it feels like it just got better and better as it went on. I feel like the weakest stuff is actually the beginning, and that they've worked at improving it, and definitely you get through it quicker now. But it's just like getting through it, and you're like, oh, okay. Even that stuff that I felt was kind of weak in the past just is very meaningful to the story points going forward. So I don't know. It's just it's a neat game. It's the one thing I would recommend to anybody if they just want an MMO. This is a very good MMO. And it looks like it's not going to stop anytime soon. So
yeah, I asked my mom if she was going to switch over. She was like, "No, I'm too invested in WoW. My friends are here." Like, well,
that's the key. And that's the key thing.
Yeah, but ask your friends if they're also playing this game.
That's true. That is true.
Like they're playing with you here for sure because you're here, but maybe I guess they haven't like mentioned to her like, hey, you want to check this the game out, so maybe they really aren't. But boy, I feel like everyone and their brother is playing and sister is playing this game. So very cool.
Yeah, so that's mostly what I've been focused on, is just doing that. Like I said, we talked about Erdtree some, and I definitely explored it, enjoy it. I don't know mentally if I'm in the right place to how much to play any more Elden Ring. Like some here and there. Like even when I was playing, I was only putting in like an hour or 2 at most a night. I was just like, it's just a little bit, just do a thing and then feel good, and then or get to a wall and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna beat my head on this right now, and just stop for the night. Definitely trying to like be much more measured in my approach to that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been playing. It's taken over my life. My gaming life, I should say. I play only at night, and I've been playing from basically 10 o'clock to midnight every night. So 2-hour chunks, and I just fell head over heels in love with it again. I didn't expect that. I wanted to like be DLC ready because I was DLC curious, and then by the time I got through Moog and started doing some other just random stuff, I was like, oh my god, I'm so back into this game. It's so brilliantly designed. So I've been playing a lot of that, and then my daughter has been playing Kena Bridge of Spirits. She's been streaming it actually. Just no commentary, no camera, nothing. She's just playing it, and we're recording it onto YouTube, and people are watching every single time. It's really, she's just like so impressed that people actually are interested in watching Kena because she loves that game. There's a postcard coming to your daughter, begging her to check that game out. And then I picked up, obviously we're playing Final Fantasy Adventure for the RPG backlog. Please check that out when that's live into next month. But I picked up, because of this weird-ass thing, Forza Horizon 4 is going to get delisted. You may have seen this.
I did see that. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. It's being delisted because of licensing, and I think it's actually car licensing, not music licensing, but it could be either, but I would bet it's car licensing. So Forza Horizon 4, which is not the recent one, 5 is the recent one from Mexico that came out in 2021. I believe it was Mexico. Oh, it is Mexico, yeah. Horizon 4 was before that. That was the one set in Britain. I never got around to playing it, although I wanted to because I lived in Britain, and I wanted to check it out. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll buy it. I got the Ultimate Edition for like $20. And then I have it on my Steam Deck, and my God, I was like, this is not going to play great. It does. It plays wonderfully on the Steam Deck. I got it locked 45 frames per second. I almost said per minute. That'd be terrible. 45 frames per second. And it looks gorgeous. It's fun. I love the Forza Horizon games, and I haven't played 4 or 5, and this is just beautiful. So I've been playing quite a bit of that. And then that's kind of it. It's been Elden Ring, other than a little bit of Final Fantasy Adventure. Speaking of FPS, there was the Megapede. Did you play the Megapede yet?
No, I haven't moved forward yet. I need to do that. Yeah.
It was, when you get there, I want you, let me know about the frames per second for the boss compared to you. It was weird, and I guess it was intentional, but I think because there's so many sprites on the screen for how long this thing is. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I put up a new video on our YouTube, Prof and Dev Play Games, going through the box that I rescued from my mom's house of NES games. That was pretty cool to get up there, and people are always interested in what's that show, Storage Wars or whatever, like looking through people's old shit. Like, well, here's a fucking box full of spiderwebs and rat poop.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull some NES games out of it, and let's take a look.
And the fact that they actually work.
Yeah, the ones that I've played so far work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them. I don't know if you've tested all of them yet.
I have not tested all of them yet. I should eventually, but...
crazy.
Yeah, super cool.
It's cool that you even found that, though, or had it still.
I'm very happy that I was able to get that away from that house.
Yeah, I have no clue where my NES is. It went to my siblings, and then...
Yeah, and then
it's a loss. Now I have no clue where that that is. And a bunch of my SNES games are gone as well. I have my SNES, and I have some games, but not some of the ones I really like. I don't have value a lot. I don't have Link to the Past anymore, which I'm like, where'd that go?
Yeah.
Don't have. There's a few SNES games. I'm just like, where? I don't have Earthbound anymore. Don't know where that went to. But I still have Super Metroid, so that's cool.
Nice, that's a good one.
I like having that one. And the manual for it. Oh, the manual is badass, I will say that.
Man. I wish I had kept the boxes and manuals from that time period.
I don't have the box, but I do have the manual.
Yeah, that's very cool.
But yeah, yeah, I like having some of that old ones. Maybe I'll get inspired and try to see if I can get this SNES to actually work. I haven't plugged it in.
You should get one of those, the Retrons or whatever they are.
Yeah.
The one you showed me had the NES and Super Nintendo slot.
Yeah.
So
that'd be cool.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, Steam sales going on. Anything that's that you're eyeing?
Mostly just stuff that sits on my wish list forever. I try to at least buy a couple things off of it when these come around. So let's sort it by review score. What is the overwhelming positive stuff that I could pick up? Valhalla, Cyberpunk Bartender action. But not that one for years. It's kind of a visual novel, but you play a bartender. So there's actual like gameplay mixing drinks and stuff. But it's I've always been tempted if I want to get it on Steam, or there was a physical Switch version that got released. That's kind of rare.
Oh, really?
Or both. Maybe I want both. That's down. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is a highly rated one that's on there. I'm like, that could be good on the Steam Deck. Signalis, which is, if I remember right, it's like 2D sprite-based survival, like semi-isometric survival horror.
Yep.
Game. A bunch of people like. 1,000 times Resist. That's up there. It's on sale.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Got to be in the mood to read. Actually, you don't have to read it. Everything's voiced.
Yeah. Slay the Princess is on sale. It's also up there. It's getting a physical copy release on Switch. Nice. Yeah, it comes out August, I think. Thought about pre-ordering that and getting that one. Heard this one people at work have talked about RoboQuest, which has been talked about as like FPS Hades.
RoboQuest. Oh,
Yeah.
I need to check it out. I don't think that's on my wish list.
Yeah. Some people at work really, really like this game. It has a 96% positive.
Excuse me, I'm an idiot. It's in my library.
Oh, okay. Good job.
I played this. Okay, yeah. I didn't think of it as a Hades, but I only played about half an hour. So
yeah, it is a roguelite.
Yeah, FPS roguelike.
That has that loop going on.
Yep. No, it played well. The gunplay was really good.
Yeah. After that, Dredge is on there still.
Yep.
Last Call BBS, which is a Zachtronics game. Zachtronics did
deep, crunchy puzzle games.
Yeah, they did Opus Magnum. Is that one of their big ones? Exapunks. Very interesting kind of stuff. Last Call BBS, I think, was Zachtronics' last game. I actually said this will be my last game because they're going into teaching.
Interesting.
But this one is like a very nostalgic, like time frame of like probably the like early to mid 90s, like dealing with BBSs. And there's like a Gundam building mini game, different little puzzle games. It's like a collection of different things. I've heard really good things about it. Some coworkers really like that one. I'm like, I should. That's on my list to maybe pick up at some point. To get that anymore. I need to remove some because I've got them physically on other hardware,
so you don't,
like the D-Lit game. I got the physical one of Star Ocean Second Story R. I got that. Yeah, but there's this game called Shishingo, Learn Japanese with Photography, which I've thought about picking up.
Oh, very cool.
It's like a 3D world,
and
you can take pictures of everything, and it translates what you take a picture of. Like, it shows you the Japanese and the English of what you took a picture of.
How do you spell that? My daughter would be interested.
Shishingo, SHASHINGO.
Shishingo, Learn Japanese with Photography. Let me check that out. My daughter would be super interested in that. Edutainment game came out this year.
Yep.
Take pictures with your camera, and then it'll translate it. Oh, very cool. Okay.
Like the main stuff I was looking at. It's not out yet.
I wonder if it pronounces. Oh, it looks like it does. Pronounces it for you.
It's a cool concept.
Yeah, very cool concept.
Because it just ties the visual to the word really well. I'm trying to see if there's other.
Oh yeah, Japanese audio, photo album, the story of flashcards. Okay, dude, I gotta add this to my fucking list.
That's kind of like I kind of use the Steam sales to pick off like interesting indie games off my wish list that I've kind of collected over the year. That's kind of my main focus there. If I don't own them already, that's the other thing. I own a lot of stuff. I want to see if there's anything that's popped up to me that hasn't.
There was a whole list of like really cheap games, like really really amazing games for like $2. That was. I hope people will check out the featured deep. No, is that it? Featured deep discounts. Let me see if that's the list I'm thinking of.
There is pretty big one.
Shadow War $250, Witcher $4, Cash Crashers $150. Disco Elysium for $4. Fucking get that if you don't have that, people.
Yeah.
Assetto Corsa for $2, Civ 6 for $3,
Arkham Knight for $2. I was like, Civ 6 for $3. I'm like, holy crap.
That's a 95% off. It's my god. Frostpunk for $3, Celeste for $2. I'm getting that again. I don't have it on Steam. That game is fantastic. So those are crazy. Deep discounts. I will tell you what's in my cart. What I do for Steam sales is I add a bunch of shit to my cart, and then over the time before the Steam sale ends, I just prune and cut stuff off. So I just added Shishingo. I've got Celeste. I have another Crab's Treasure. I have Code Vein, which is a Souls-like with like teammate partners with you. Talos Principle 1 and 2. I already have 1, but this will be 2. The Void Rains Upon Her Heart, which is a shoot 'em up, I believe, a shmup. Finally going to pick up Boyfriend Dungeon. It looks like it comes with Going Under. I'm going to try one of the Spider Solitaire games, Avernum 3, Ruined World. Spider Solitaire? Spider Softworks?
Spider Softworks, like the RPGs?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My college roommate was really into those.
Yeah, I've heard people who are really into like deep crunchy RPGs love these, so I want to check one of those out. Urbo, which is basically like a city builder, kind of like what some of the toyetic ones that I've been showing you. Mm-hmm. Vampire Survivors Operation Guns, the DLC, which you probably already have, and probably already have all the fucking achievements.
Actually, I haven't bought that DLC yet.
Oh, interesting. You were always rushing, or not rushing, but getting it and getting all the achievements.
Sure.
Poosh XL, which is 124. It's by Adam. What's his name? Adam is a kind of funny best friend, and he did a game called I'm blanking on the name, but my wife loves it. You just have a puck that goes back and forth, and you avoid obstacles. It's like a very arcadey kind of game. So I'm picking that one up. Dystopica, which is basically a cyberpunk city builder that's you just build shit.
Yep.
Sounds really chill but dark. It's like, what did it say? It was come for the darker side of cozy or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dragon Age 2 Ultimate Edition for $3. Crazy. Euro Truck Simulator 2 for $2. Just want to drive around Europe. Although, you know what? I actually am doing that with, I'm going to remove that because I'm doing that with Forza Horizon now. And then Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
All right.
Watched a stream of Sekiro during my dinner tonight. I was like, yes, I want to play this. Because, I'm in the Souls mood, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, that's one to pick up for sure. If you really,
there's more story to it. Just in the hour that I watched, I was like, oh, there's actually like a main protagonist and the talk to people, and like there's a story.
There's a pretty straight story in that one.
Yeah, that's weird for FromSoft.
And then just combat though is just like it is the ultimate in good combat. You do Elden Ring. Here's all these options. Sekiro. There aren't many options. Enjoy. Just these are the mechanics. Learn them. Use them.
Yep. And we'll see how I fare. Elden Ring's trapped me. I'm like, oh, I like these kind of games. No, you like these kind of games with options. So,
I mean, that's why Elden Ring was trapped me.
Oh,
I mean, I've tried Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne. And that's when I decided after Bloodborne. This is the one people are like, oh, Bloodborne's amazing. And I'm like, Bloodborne really looks amazing. I just didn't do it for my frustrations with the Souls type gameplay outweigh my enjoyment. And then Elden Ring solved so much of that for me, where I can just do stuff. Like, I don't feel like I'm just stuck forever. So I know myself. I'm like, I can't go back to that. But maybe Elden Ring has got you to the point where you want to. That is the right thing for you now.
Maybe. I mean, I have Bloodborne, so maybe I should go back to Bloodborne instead of doing Sekiro. But I don't like the vibes of Bloodborne. It's like fucking Victorian. I don't know what it is. It's creepy.
It's Gothic horror. It's Victorian Gothic horror.
Yeah, that's
it. Like it's real dark. It's real.
Yeah. No me gusta. I don't know.
Yeah, that would do it.
But I like the vibes of Sekiro so far. It's like, okay, now I'll play it in Japanese like I did with God damn it.
Ghost of Tsushima?
Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima just adds to the vibes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anything else for the podcast, Anthony?
No, I think I'm good.
Awesome. Well, this has been another episode of our awesome podcast, Prof and Dev Play Games. If you like us, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. Check us out on YouTube. There's stuff going up on YouTube, mainly of me dying at Elden Ring or beating bosses at Elden Ring or digging through old Nintendo games. So come over and check it out. And we will see you next week for who the fuck knows more video game news of some kind. All right, folks. Thanks so much. And we will see you next week.
Later, everyone.